beginning.
Good morning, guys. My name is Humberto, also known as Tito. I want to take this time today to talk to you guys about the Major League Baseball. The Major League Baseball Association has been a game called by men in uniforms, better known as umpires. Since day one, the game has always been determined by umpires making calls and no chance in overturning the call. This season was the first season that the review replay call was introduced to the game and has had a huge effect on the game and outcomes. I will take these next few minutes to talk to you about how this rule works in the game and how people from Major League Baseball feel about it. As stated in the article, Major League Baseball review replay regulations on MLB.com. Each club will receive one manager challenge to start each game. A manager may challenge as many reviewable calls within a single play as he desires using one challenge. A call can be reviewed only if the manager chooses to use his review call. Once a manager calls for the replay, the umpires then get together and look over the replay and decide to overturn it, or if not, replay and make the correct call. From the same article, Major League Baseball Review Replay Regulations, the process of the call is explained. If the replay official does not overturn any of the calls challenged by a club, the club will lose the ability to challenge any additional play or call in the game. If the replay overturns any call challenged by a club, even if he upholds other challenge calls, the club may challenge one additional play or a call in the game. A club will not retain the right to challenge any play or call after he uses his second manager call. Regardless of whether any of the calls within the second play are overturned, I believe the review replay call has improved the game, making a close call reviewable and correctable. Players and coaches would agree with me when I say the review replay call has made the game positive. MLB Vice President Joe Torre and former coaches Tony La Russa and Jim Leyland talked about the reaction from the MLB on the review replay call. This has never been done before. The reception from the clubs have been positive. That makes us happy. Teams have won the game based on an overturned call at home plate due to a manager's call for the replay. On an online article, how expanded replay is impacting MLB in its inaugural season on BleacherReport.com, it shows a replay of the Pirates winning on an overturned call. On May 6th this year, the Giants and the Pirates were tied in the bottom of the ninth inning when a player from the Pirates was running in to score the winning run of the game. He was called out. But due to the review replay call, the call was overturned and they won 2-1. From personal experience from being at a game, I can say many fans get excited when the replays favor their team. And when they don't, they let the umpires know how they feel. The review replay call has overturned many calls. According to baseball7.com, about 48% of the calls have been overturned. And they have made a difference in the outcome of the game. So some calls have even saved playoff contestants. Hopefully you have seen my point of the review replay call and can see how just how important this rule is to the sport. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right, Tito, you have, this is interesting to me. You have almost the inverse problem that I've had with several of the other speeches. You've got a lot of good data, you cite the sources thoroughly, you got examples, statistics, pieces of testimony that's going on there. What you don't have is the structure to make that argument as clear as it needs to be. And I was kind of surprised because when we talked about it, I thought you had a pretty good structure, but those secondary claims don't get clarified. And the truth was, I was listening for your proposition, and you finally got to the proposition 2 minutes and 15 seconds into the speech. Now, your speech only ends up being a little bit over 4 minutes, so that basically means that your claim comes halfway through the speech. You've got a lot of background information that you're presenting first, and then you make your claim, and then there's not really a structure for the supporting information that comes. There's a lot of good supporting information, but there's not really any structure for that, and so that's a little bit problematic. You need to fix that. To me, it would be simple to go back to what we talked about and say, I like the description that you have at the beginning, kind of explaining what the replay rule is. I think you need to explain a little bit more why it is controversial, why anybody would be, well, why would anybody have a problem with this? That, baseball has been a very traditional game. It's always been this way, that the umpires are the ones who are the final arbiters of those sorts of things. We have a long tradition of that. Changing it means that, for instance, a lot of people might view historical mistakes in a lot different view. They'll always be going back and say, well, if they'd had replay in 1968, some other team would have won the World Series or something like that. Something that there's a reason why people are still talking about this and maybe having a negative impression on it. So I know that there's controversy on it. Then give us that claim, because your claim basically is that the rule is working to improve the game. All right, and then, so how are you going to support that? Like we talked about, there are the executives and owners of the game believe that it's working. The public believes that it's working. The players feel confident that it's working. So you've got the three interest groups there who support that. That should be a secondary structure. That should be pretty easy to see and give us those labels as you're talking. But like I said, I thought that you did a nice job giving us pieces of testimony and examples, and a very good example, as a matter of fact, and then some statistical information to go along with that. So the data is good. You just need to make it clearer what your argument is and how it's going. The delivery, you got to practice a little bit. I know you're a little nervous, but you're doing a little bit more reading than you need to do. Let's go back to just tell people what your argument is. Everybody's focused on, oh, I got to get the language perfect, or I've written it out. That's the problem when you write out something. Everybody wants to read what they've written out. If you speak from an outline, you're much more likely to talk to the audience, and then when you look down and to see what the next point is, that's all you have to do is know what my next claim is. And if you know what the claim is, then just talk about that claim instead of reading the paragraph that you wrote out about it. All right, appreciate it. Thank you.